It is false, yeah. But that's kind of in there in the marketplace, and there's certain studies that are kind of showing that. The thing is, you can find what you want in the study. And the most important thing is, like, who did the study? Who sponsored the study? Who paid for the study? Who has a bias? Okay? Calcium supplements are necessary to prevent osteoporosis. True? No? Well, what are you going to do? Well, you need five nutrients, 6 nutrients to have it. Another thing that's really a myth is that protein actually creates bone loss, and that's not true. Now, if you have kidney dysfunction and you have protein, you're going to have problems with your bones because of the kidney dysfunction. If you have adequate and good kidney function, protein is actually going to help you pick up the minerals in your food. So, interesting stuff. But you're going to need calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin K, boron, and hydrochloric acid to pick up nutrients. And cultures that have modest amount of food-based calcium but have kind of whole food diets, they have good bones. So the idea of, well, you're 60 years old now, take 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 calcium or tons, actually leads to plaquing of the arteries, not resorption of the bones. So it's hard for me to, I've known this my whole life, but the momentum is pretty overwhelming. Dark chocolate can be a health food.
Yes.
Guaranteed. Can we be 100% on that?
Yes.
When is it not?
Full of sugar.
Yeah, if you have less than 60%, then the lower the percent of the cocoa, the more sugar. And sugar beets are GMO food. Not cane sugar. So it's interesting. Cane sugar, at the moment, is not modified. Beet sugar is modified. Corn sugar is modified.
They have to say what kind of sugar it is?
The company will. The company will. I mean, they don't always do that. But, too much chocolate is like, you're not sleeping, right? Or you're getting sick. So there's, coffee and chocolate and wine.
All good.
1 or 2 hits are good, and beyond that, it can beat up on you. Food and chemical sensitivity is a recognized contributor of most disease. That's kind of my big thing, to tell you the truth. As a nutrition consultant, and it's food and chemical sensitivity. We're sensitive to all these chemicals. We don't want any of them. We don't like any of them, and they disturb our metabolism. They create a host of problems. And GMOs are the classic food and chemical aggregate to our bodies. So that's very true.
I saw a list only recently of GMO Roundup Ready seeds, and it did include sugar cane. I don't know if these lists...
I'm saying lists are not always reliable.
That's what I'm wondering. If there's a very recent, within the last 2 months, list of GMO.
I hear things all the time that wheat is genetically modified, and that's why people have wheat with skin. It's not so. Okay? I mean, there's other problems with wheat. There's lots of problems with lots of food that is not because of genetic modification. So I don't buy the corn cane thing yet. Okay.
No,
now,
the internet is
the internet is so unreliable it's not even funny. So this is a chart that you have that you can take home and study. It's kind of a pinball effect. That you eat something, it gets you excited, then it gets you tired, then it gets you disturbed, then it draws your nutrients, then it upregulates the immune system, then it burns out, the nervous system, then you get depressed, and then you eat it again. You see what I'm saying? So it's really interesting how there is a stimulation value with foods that are called allergies or sensitivities to that effect. And some of them are actually healthy foods. Okay, so this is a course in itself, but I'm giving you the handout to take home and study. All right, healthy main meal. So this is what I eat for dinner every day. I wish. It's a nice plate of home-cooked food, and it could be a seafood, a poultry, or a beef. So if you're a vegetarian, you're largely going to depend on rice and beans, grains and beans, beans and seeds, things of that nature. Quinoa with, vegetables or miso. And then a good fat. So don't be fat phobic. As you get older, you need more fat. And when you have more fat, your blood sugar is more stable. And when your blood sugar is more stable, you can go longer between meals and have, better productivity. So it's kind of important. Sugar is by far, of the foods, the most damaging. I was at an obesity conference Saturday, and a man named Rob Lustig was speaking. He's a medical doctor from UCSF, and he's got the bitter truth about sugar. And what he said that was really interesting is obesity is not the problem, because we normal-looking people have metabolic syndrome. And metabolic syndrome is this constellation of problems with hypertension, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, insulin resistance, cognitive decline, and they live okay. And people who are obese, many have the same problems, but not all. So it's not just about, it's unpleasant to be overweight, and there's social stigma, and it's stressful on the organism, which it is. But that really a lot of it has to do with sugar consumption and soda consumption. So for me, the two things I target in beverages are sugar sodas, which are largely fructose-based, and non-sweetened sodas, which are aspartame and Splenda-based. You see? And they don't help at all. They're neurotoxic. So they're not GMO, but people are kind of exactly. They're kind of lulled into thinking this is great. I can have this food and I get a lift, because people do get a lift. But it's very disturbing to the liver and the pancreas. And then people eat sugar have fatty livers. So we used to think somebody has a fatty liver is because of alcohol, but you see fatty liver in kids from sugar consumption. And now there's some pretty good initiatives which our school supports called Rethink Your Drink. And we're going around to the kids, we're going around to the school, and there was $475 million approved in Oakland for schools, for food in the schools. And Oakland is building this big center where they can actually do fresh food. And the problem with making fresh food in the school is the volume of space you need to clean a half a ton of kale. Think about that. If you have produce, and you got to watch that produce, you need an army of kids or people to clean it and to chop it and to put it into a salad when you're feeding thousands of meals. If everything is bought from the vendors from McDonald's and Pizza Hut, they don't have that problem. But again, there was a bond issue that passed in Oakland with 86% approval. Wow. Nothing gets 86% approval. To invest in the kids and invest in the education and all that, and my people are going to be part of that initiative. This is, if you make healthy food, the kids will go, I don't want that. They need a little education, they need a little sampling, a little tasting, or else they'll just, like a baby, they'll just throw it on the floor. Did you ever have that with your kid, where you gave them good food and they threw it on the floor, you picked it up and they threw it on the floor?
Besides water, what's an easy, convenient drink?
Tea.
Hot tea?
Hot tea, cold tea, room temperature tea.
Well,
peppermint tea.
Convenient, for kids.
Well, again, your point's well taken. Water, I had some water in San Francisco. It was just so bad tasting, I couldn't drink it. And the person with me, they drank it. I go, wow, this water is bad. It's like got BO. And that's bad. Water has BO. So God knows what they put in it or put in it to try to neutralize whatever they were putting in it. All right, so the water needs to be clean and filtered. That's number one. One can put a splash of fruit juice in it. So if you put 10 or 20%, grape juice, cherry juice, pomegranate juice, it gives it a little bit of flavor that, kids will like. Not 100% apple juice, 100% grape juice, 100% orange juice. The glycemic on that is through the roof. So the blend of water and juice is good. More water than juice, like 60, 40, 70, 30. Or sparkling with a little fruit. Or twist of lemon, that kind of thing.
And the ones you buy in the market are okay. The free water can?
Sure. It's expensive, relatively speaking, but nevertheless.
But that's so easy.
So easy.
Yeah, without those.
They tend to have the wrong things in them. So if you look at the label on a soapy, It's gonna have some kind of fructose, corn fructose, by and large. It's gonna have caffeine, not that good. So really cultivating a kind of a water thing, and really, water is good. We don't get enough water. I got to roll on this, so we'll never get through it. But anyway, you want a bunch of colorful fruits and veg, and you want water or tea. Tea is the answer to most health problems. Tea is the way to get off of bad foods. Oh yeah, I want some alcohol milk. I'll have a pot of tea. Oh, I want a cookie milk. I'll have a pot of tea and a piece of fruit. Oh, I'm going to kill myself. I think I'll have No, seriously. It's just like a smoke or a coffee break. It's the positive refresher. Takes time to boil the water. You put in some plants in the water, something typically green, right, or something little flowers. And then, it's mild, it's soothing, it's actually, angelic in its own way.
Talking real gray.
It could be. If you're a big girl, you could have a big girl drink. Or Lady Gray. I don't know what Earl's wife's name is. Lady Jane, But, green tea is certainly a fantastic drink. And it doesn't have a great flavor, does it? Right? So get some loose green tea and then blend it with mint, or blend it with rosemary, or blend it with lemongrass, or blend it with, something aromatic, and about 50-50, and it makes a nice drink. All right? If you want to put a little stevia in it, get stevia as a leaf, not as a liquid or powder. Stevia as a liquid is just too sweet. It's just super sweet. 1,000 times sweeter than sugar. It's really sweet. Stevia is a leaf. It's just like a little sweet leaf. So this is how we get to people is by, we're talking now, but then we give people little samples, little drinks, and they go, oh, that's really good. Okay, fine. That's the way to change.